sides of the box collapsed. And there was Roxanne, dressed not in shimmery blue, but in a silver catsuit. She took her bows, as she'd been taught almost from birth, with a flourish. As the sound of success continued to pound in her ears, she mounted the tiger and rode the beast off stage. "Nice work, Oscar." With a little sigh, she bent forward to scratch the cat between the ears. "You looked real pretty, Roxy." Her big burly assistant clipped a leash to Oscar's spangled collar. "Thanks, Mouse." Dismounting, she tossed her hair back. The backstage area was already hopping. Those trusted to do so would secure her equipment and guard it from prying eyes. Since she'd scheduled a press conference for the following day, she would see no reporters now. Roxanne had high hopes for a bottle of iced champagne and a stingingly hot whirlpool bath. Alone. Absently, she rubbed her hands together, an old habit Mouse could have told her she'd picked up from her father. "I've got the fidgets," she said with a half-laugh. "Had them all damn night. It feels like someone's breathing down my neck." Mouse stood where he was, letting Oscar rub against his knees. Never articulate under the best of circumstances, Mouse fumbled for the best way to phrase the news. "You got company, Roxy, in the dressing room." "Oh?" Her brows drew together, forming the faint line of impatience between them. "Who?"
"Take another bow, honey."
Lily, Roxanne's onstage assistant and surrogate mother, swept over to grab her arm.
"You brought down the house."
Lily dabbed a handkerchief around the false eyelashes she wore on stage and off.
"Max would be so proud."
The quick twist in Roxanne's gut had her willing away her own tears. They didn't show. They were never permitted to show in public. She started forward, moving into the swell of applause. "Who's waiting for me?" she called over her shoulder, but Mouse was already leading the big cat away. He'd been taught by the master that discretion was the better part of survival. 10 minutes later, flushed with success, Roxanne opened the door of her dressing room. The scent hit her first. Roses and grease paint. That mix of fragrances had become so familiar she breathed it in like fresh air. But there was another scent here, the sting of rich tobacco, elegant, exotic, French. Her hand trembled once on the knob as she pushed the door fully open. There was one man she would forever associate with that aroma, one man she knew who habitually smoked slim French cigars. She said nothing when she saw him, could say nothing as he rose from a chair where he'd been enjoying his cigar and her champagne. Oh, God, it was thrilling and horrible to watch that wonderful mouth quirk in that very familiar grin, to meet those impossibly blue eyes with her own. His hair was still long, a mane of ebony waving back from his face. Even as a child he'd been gorgeous, an elegant gypsy with eyes that could freeze or burn. Age had only enhanced his looks, fining down that compelling face, the long bones and shadowy hollows, the faint cleft in the chin. Beyond the physical, there was a drama that shivered around him like an aura. He was a man women shuddered over and wanted. She had. Oh, she had. 5 years had passed since she'd seen that smile, since she'd run her hands through that thick hair or felt the searing pressure of that clever mouth. 5 years to mourn, to weep, and to hate. Why wasn't he dead? She wondered as she forced herself to close the door at her back. Why hadn't he had the decency to succumb to any of the varied and gruesome tragedies she'd imagined for him? And what in God's name was she going to do with this terrible yearning she felt just looking at him again? "Roxanne." Training kept Luke's voice steady as he said her name. He'd watched her over the years. Tonight he'd studied her every move from the shadows of the wings, judging, weighing, wanting. But here, now, face to face, she was almost too beautiful to bear. "It was a good show. The finale was spectacular." "Thank you." His hand was steady as he poured her a flute of champagne, as hers was when she accepted it. They were, after all, showmen, cast in an odd way from the same mold, Max's mold. "I'm sorry about Max." Her eyes went flat. "Are you?" Because Luke felt he deserved more than the slash of sarcasm, he merely nodded, then glanced down at his bubbling wine, remembering. His mouth curved when he looked back at her. "The Calais job, the rubies, was that yours?" She sipped, the silver sparkling on her shoulders as she moved them in a careless shrug. "Of course." He nodded again, pleased.